Right before the season, everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video coordinator named Rocky. He finishes his speech and he goes, "Hit it, Rock!" And Set It Off by Boosie Badass played. As a young white man, it was my first time hearing that song, Set It Off. Yeah, we finna set it off. You heard me? I'm finna put you in the trash bag. Tired of all these knowing me right now, for real. You wanna talk shit? You wanna run your mouth? You want some gangster structure mother in the house? We'll set this job. Yeah. And that was my first time hearing Set It Off. At Samford University, it was the third or fourth week of camp. We were about where teams are right now. Right before the season, everybody's pissing and moaning. We had a different coach come up and give a motivational speech in the afternoon each day. He was our running backs coach at the time by the name of Derek Foster. Coach Foster came up there, toughness and pushing through. He got real razzed up as his speech progressed. We had a video coordinator named Rocky. What it is, what it is, what it is, what it is, baby. It's good to be back now. I know we're here every day, but it's good to be back. You know what I mean? Let's go home. Let's go home. Welcome back to the show, baby. We got a big one tonight now. We got us a big one tonight, and we're going to spend the whole episode talking about it, just like we spent all week talking about it. It's the Thursday night football matchup, the AFC North matchup between my Cincinnati Bengals and our arch rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to try to come at you in the least biased manner I can today. It's hard for me. It's hard for me. My inner child screams for the orange and black stripes. But we're going to try to give you the cold, hard facts of what we're about to see here, probably in an hour and I would guess an hour and 33 minutes, maybe at 8:15 Eastern time kick. I haven't confirmed that by fact. That's just a guess. The Bengals will have Andrew Whitworth in the house tonight as the ruler of the jungle. They give him a little staff. It's really more like Tarzan than any kind of Cincinnati Bengal type thing. You know, I don't really know how that works. I remember hearing the story of how the Bengals came to be the Bengals out of Cincinnati, because you're sitting here thinking, look, man, I'm looking out over the Ohio River, and I don't see any Bengal tigers prowling amongst the hills coming up on people's back porch when they got a view looking down a great American ballpark. You just don't hear about that. Maybe in the Cincinnati Zoo you'll find yourself a Bengal tiger. You've got to, right? But I'm wearing my Bruce Arians hat today because it's the Unk Bowl. 81 combined years between the two starting quarterbacks in this game tonight. You think about that. That's older than Joe Byron. Bing bong. Joe Byron, let me take you out to dinner. What's that? That was that clip, that viral New York clip. New York, we let the dogs out in New York. Arr, arr, arr. You know, something like that. Yeah, great to be here today, man. I haven't been able to stop thinking about this game, much to my detriment. I really can't shake the feeling every single Bengals game day that comes upon us. It's excitement, but then it's also cancer. and I'm hoping this Bengals defense doesn't give me cancer, because I think this offensive unit is clicking. If you watch the second half of this Bengals offense against the Green Bay Packers, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of these media jackasses didn't watch a sliver of film in this second half of the Bengals-Packers on Sunday. I know it. For the last, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks, what's that NFL Network show? Good Morning Football or NFL Game Day or whatever it's called. Good Morning Football, I think. I'd love to know how many of these folks that are picking these games played football past the high school level. I'd really like to know, because I guarantee you it's not all of them. And you got some women on there, which we know how we feel about women in football, but I'm not going to rant about that today. So it was a clean sweep. Everybody picked the Steelers. One analyst picked the Steelers to win 26-0. Did you watch a sliver of film from Sunday on the Bengals? Did you watch a sliver of this offense? Joe Flacco comes in on 2 or 3 days' notice, doesn't practice with Jamar Chase all week because Jamar Chase was battling an illness, and he damn near throws to Jamar for 100 yards receiving. I think it was 10 catches for 96 yards and a tud. What are we doing? We think the Bengals are going to get shut out at home against a division opponent? I should have done more research. I should have looked at the person's name. Damn. Got me all jacked up on Mountain Dew, man. I should have looked at that media person's name. I should have looked in to see if they even played past the middle school level, because that's just ridiculous. Bias aside, I know it's my team. I always tell people I trust my analysis most of the time, but a lot of times when I don't trust my analysis is with my Cincinnati Bengals, because with my Cincinnati Bengals, I am a fan, and fans are delusional. Can be delusional, but we're going to try to give you guys the cold hard facts of the game. My prediction, I put myself on the spot there. I wasn't sure if I was going to make a prediction, but I just said I would, so I will. Look, this Pittsburgh Steelers team, they have transformed themselves. They've been without a quarterback really since Ben Roethlisberger. They're a franchise that historically does not spend a lot of money. They're a franchise that historically likes to Pittsburgh penny pinch for the most part. And I know that's audacious coming from a Bengals fan. It's their first time spending big money in free agency. I'm talking Jalen Ramsey. I'm talking DK Metcalf. And there's a few other pieces that are maybe evading my attention at the moment. So it's clear that the Pittsburgh Steelers are all in. They've pushed all their chips to the middle of the table, and so far it's worked out well for them. They're one of 2 teams in the NFL that are 5-1, tied for the best record. They are quietly cruising. The only game they dropped was to a Seattle Seahawks team that seems to be absolutely balling. Sam Darnold, I think the Vikings are regretting letting him go after seeing how he's played. He's top 5 in passing in the league up to this week. And then you look at someone like Baker Mayfield. I can't believe that those two guys were on the same Panthers roster. I can't believe that. But the Steelers are going all in. They're paying DK. I think DK Metcalf's making $30 million a year. Okay, You got DK Metcalf, a piece that the Steelers have been using, a guy that the Steelers have been using in their offense a lot the last week or so, is a guy named Darnell Washington. He's a tight end out of Georgia. He didn't get a lot of press because he was behind Brock Bowers. This guy's 265 pounds and looks like a Clydesdale horse. I remember him when he was at Georgia. I think he was number 0. I can't remember. I was at a UGA football game. This is when it was. It was the national championship in 2023. So I have a lot of second cousins in Houston, Texas, and one of them is a Texas Christian University alum, better known as TCU. He went to he was a Horned Frog. Okay. And this was 2023. I think it was the last year of the 4-team college football playoff, if I am correct. And the TCU Horned Frogs, they had Quentin Johnson, who is playing good football for the Chargers right now. They had DeMercado at running back, who was the guy that fumbled at the goal line for the Arizona Cardinals and got Jonathan Gannon fined $100,000. We ranted about that a lot last week. But I went, so the semifinal game in 2023, it was Michigan versus TCU. The Fiesta Bowl, which is hosted right here 20 minutes from where I sit in Glendale, Arizona, a little west. And my cousin, Rob, texted me, and he said, "Hey, we're in town for the TCU game. Would you like to come?" And I said, "Free football? Yeah. I'm going to go watch J.J. McCarthy square off against the TCU Horned Frogs. I'll wave a purple flag. I don't care." And TCU beats Michigan. And they advanced to the national championship, which was in Los Angeles, California, at SoFi Stadium. And after TCU got the win in the semifinal, my cousin Rob says to me, "Well, hey, man, you're a good luck charm. You want to come to the game in L.A.?" And I said, "Yeah. I want to go to the national championship in a stadium, in a brand new stadium in Inglewood, California, rough part of L.A., by the way." I said, "Yeah, I'd be interested in going to that." And so I went, and I remember noticing Steelers tight end, because Georgia played TCU in the national championship. Ended up being one of the worst games I've ever seen. Georgia beat them by like 58 points. I think Georgia hung 63 on TCU. It was ridiculous. And people are talking about SEC bias like it ain't warranted. I'm so tempted to keep ranting about that. We ranted about that on the show yesterday. This whole narrative right now about SEC bias. But let's not get off the railroad tracks too far here. So I see number 0 for Georgia. And I'm not down that close to the field. And by the way, when you look at NFL guys from a field level, it's completely different seeing them up in the stands. I told a story on stream. We streamed Madden last night. We had a great turnout. We had like 2,000 people tune in. And I told a story about when I worked for the Colts, and my buddy was playing quarterback for the Steelers, and the Colts went on the road to the Steelers, and I got to watch Colts versus Steelers in November game at then Heinz Field from the field, from the sideline. It was amazing. And I remember seeing TJ Watt at eye level, and holy shit. Holy shit. Some of these guys that my buddy was introducing me to that were Steelers, I got to meet Juju Smith-Schuster. I got to meet There's a big tight end. I think his name was like Zach Wolf. He played at Michigan or something. Dude, these guys, when these big tight ends for the Steelers shook my hand, I felt like my shit was about to break, boy. These boys have big-ass hands. They're huge people. T.J. Watt, I was absolutely shocked. And this is T.J. Watt we're talking about. We know T.J. Watt's going to be a scary guy before even seeing him at field level. And then you see him at field level, and it's like, holy fucking shit. There's a reason I didn't stream this I don't stream this podcast on TikTok, by the way. I'm not trying to get banned. TikTok is soft as shit, by the way, dude. It's a good platform for like short sports clips like this. But dude, I'm telling you, TikTok, Snapchat, you raise your voice at all, and they'll flag your content for like hateful speech. It's insane. They got to protect the kids. You know, you got these chronic doom scrolling kids on Snapchat and TikTok. You got to protect them, and so you can't have much of this. You can't. God damn it! I just lost my damn breath doing that. So where was I? Darnell Washington. Look, this guy was toting the rock last week. He's getting a lot of touches. Aaron Rodgers likes his big targets. Darnell Washington, no different. 265 pounds. Like I said, I saw this guy play in person when he was at Georgia. He had number 0 on his chest. And I was seeing him from the top of the bottom bowl, and I was still like, oh, my God, this guy is a Clydesdale. You know, I think about big tight ends. I think about someone like Mo Alley Cox, who I used to walk into work with when I was working for the Colts at the facility down there on West 56th Street in Eagle Creek, Indiana, the northwest corner of Indianapolis, Naptown, 317. So Darnell Washington, he's a guy to watch tonight. I don't know who in the Bengals secondary or of the Bengals linebackers is going to be able to cover that guy in man coverage. I have no clue. I'm most concerned for the first time this season for the first time in the last 4 weeks about this Bengals defense. I'm not concerned about the offense. The offense is going to be able to keep us in the game if they are able to play at a level that they played at in the second half against Green Bay. I was very encouraged by that, and I'm so excited for this game. A couple meaningless stats for you here. These have been thrown around a lot on Twitter today, on other shows. I think stats like this are meaningless because they have no indication of the future. But let's drop them to share a little context here. Pittsburgh is 0-6 in Thursday night football division games. They're also, to counter this, 15-4 after bye weeks. Like I said, okay, these stats don't matter. They don't matter. If you go to Vegas, you go into a casino, and you pull up to a blackjack table, and you see, I used to buy into all this shit, by the way. Pain is what taught me to not buy into this shit because I lost a lot of money betting this way. You pull up to a roulette table in Vegas or anywhere, and you see, we've had 14 reds go off in a row. Let's say you're betting colors. We've had 14 reds in a row. I should bet black. And I'm going to bet heavily on black. Ball rolls. Red. Okay, 15 reds in a row now. I'm going to double down. I'm going to get my money back, and then I'm going to get me a little re-up on the side. Let's say I did a $100 bet the first route. Let's go 200. Ball rolls. Red. So, being in the investment business, like I am, that's what pays the bills. I like doing this a lot more. You're always required to tell your clients past results are no indication of future performance. And so these records, Pittsburgh 0-6 in Thursday night football and division games, 15-4 coming off bye weeks. Not only do these two figures cancel each other out, but they are meaningless because, as we now know, past results are not indicative of future performance. The only time where I think this applies is in horse racing. I'm a Kentucky boy. I used to bet on horse racing. That ship has sailed as well because there are people that know a lot more than me and have a lot more inside information than me. And I feel like when you're betting football, the difference between horse racing, I've talked about this on the show, by the way, the difference between horse racing betting and betting on pro football is very distinct. When you're betting on horses, and this hat fits me talking about horse racing as well. When you're betting on horse racing, the odds of each horse that you bet on are dictated by a pool of other bettors. It's a market. It's more like the stock market. So you have more of a chance betting horses to make money. Still not, chances still ain't great unless you know somebody that knows a lot of juice. But you have more of a chance making money that way than you do betting Vegas odds. Why? And I talked about this with my buddy not 2 hours ago. Vegas is employing the best and brightest statisticians that spend every waking moment figuring out how to engineer these odds to F you. This is why I don't bet on football that much. I will say, I do love the Bengals points tonight. 5.5 in most books. And I also think that T. Higgins' receiving yardage total, which is at 46.5, is one big play away from hitting. And if the Bengals want to win, they're going to need a deep hitter or two to Mr. Higgins. But with that being said, I'm hearing talks about AI sportsbooks. They mentioned this on McAfee today. AI sportsbooks. Here's a stat for you, and this is actually a meaningful stat. Teams getting 60% or more of public money this season, I believe it's this season, have a record of 15-36. That's gross, dude. Favorites, look, to me, that's a telltale sign that you got to fade the public. And even when you fade the public, I feel like this sports betting shit, and some of the listeners on the show might not want to hear this, but I feel like betting on sports in general is a washed activity. If you're doing it for fun, that's great. But if you're trying to make profit, it's fucking over, dude. They got AI cranking out odds for this shit, dude. So 60%. So teams that get 60% or more of public money this season is 15-36. This is crazy. And it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get harder to make money with sports books. And you see how much money the sports books are making Because every 2 ads I see on YouTube are FanDuel, they're DraftKings, they're MGM, and they're paying the biggest celebrities to be on these freaking commercials. It's a psyop. It's a psyop. They want you to be broke. They want you to bet your mortgage. They want your wife to leave you because you have a gambling addiction and you pissed away the 401k. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, fellas. It's a psyop. And I'm saying that because I took Mississippi State plus 17.5 points against Texas A&M 2 weeks ago. Texas A&M, one of the premier programs in college football right now. But I'm SEC biased. And I bet $150. I said, Mississippi State's a good team, man. What's their it's not Clark Lee, that's Vandy. I can't remember their head coach's name. I shouted him out a couple weeks ago. Mississippi State, good team, man. But Vegas knew something I didn't. The AI robots that they're using knew something that I didn't, man. So I think the silver lining, the bright spot, is that if you want any chance of making money sports betting, it don't matter how you feel. It don't matter what you think is going to go down. I think that goes without saying. But if you want to make money sports betting, and I don't even know if you'd be able to profit this way, I'm sure they'd find a way to get you regardless, is to fade the public. And with that being said, and this is a fact that I don't like, and this figure might have changed since I wrote it down this morning, the Cincinnati Bengals are getting 51% of the public's money right now in this game. 51%. So if you want to look, it's 50-50, right? So even that little tidbit of advice from the boy here, fade the public, is not very useful tonight because it's 50-50. It's basically down the middle. Technically, 49% of the public's got Steelers. So if you're looking for something to fade the public, that's technically what you can do. But even that's not even a real big thing. Also, favorites in the last 7 primetime games have lost 6 of those 7. 6 of the last 7 primetime games, the favorite has lost, which is a great indicator for my Cincinnati Bengals. Again, I'm even getting sucked into it right now. Past results do not indicate future performance. A lot of these stats I'm throwing out here are meaningless. Meaningless. Favorites have lost 6 of the last 7 games. It's rat poison. It's rat poison because those 7 games have no bearing over the game that's going on tonight. But I got to include the stats because, like I said, I'm a Bengals fan. I want nothing more than to see the Stripes victorious. And look, the Bengals season is on the line tonight. If the Bengals lose, it's all over. Pack it. It's done. We got no chance. 0. 2-5 is a different galaxy than 3-4. Completely different stratosphere. And the boys in the Stripes know that, I think. Now, will they strap the fuck up? I do not know. And I've got the worst part about all this is that fans of the show know I coach Pop Warner football. And we have practice 6 to 8 p.m. currently Pacific time, which is the exact hours that this game will be occurring. And to add insult to injury, our head coach will not be there tonight. My head man will not be there tonight. So I'll have to be much more engaged running my linebacker drills than I normally am. It is an offense night, and I'm a defense guy. But I'm going to have to be running drills for my Ys and my linebackers with my phone in my hand watching this freaking game. It's a must-win for Cincinnati. There's no way around it. They absolutely have to win this game, or else it's over. The AFC North will get blown wide open. Right now, the Steelers have a 71% chance of winning the AFC North. I would guess that goes down remarkably with a Bengals win tonight. The Steelers are number 1 in the NFL in yards after catch. Yak. They average more than 7 yards in yak. And guess who the worst team in the league is in allowing yak? It's the Cincinnati Bengals. They're the worst in the league statistically in giving up yak. That's a meaningful stat for you. Worst in the league. Against Green Bay on Sunday, Cincinnati had 19 missed tackles. And we're coming off a short week with young players. Cincinnati's 2 starting inside linebackers. Remember, Logan Wilson was benched prior to the Packers game. And Al Golden and Zach Taylor said it had nothing to do with Logan Wilson. They want to try out Barrett Carter, the rookie. And that's not the best sign. What that tells me is that Cincinnati has already gone into evaluation mode. And I've seen a lot of media members, Bengals media members on Twitter talking about evaluation mode. When you're more worried about evaluating rookie players, that tells me that we might not be the most serious about winning games. Are we trying to win, or are we just trying to get a lot of film on these young guys who we're trying to feel out? Pause. No diddy. 19 missed tackles, and you have 2 rookie inside linebackers in what is by far the most important game of the season. Most important game of the season is always the next game, or the game coming up. But I'm very concerned about the tackling. Jordan Battle, absolutely horrible performance against Green Bay on Sunday. One bright spot on this Bengals defense is DJ Turner. And we're going to see him square off against DK Metcalf. CB1 versus wide receiver 1. So I think the major key in this game tonight, across both sides of the ball, and we'll get into more major keys. Can the Bengals tackle? It's very simple. And again, I love talking about the ineptitude of fundamental football things that this Bengals organization continues to come up short on. Offensive line of scrimmage. We've never been able to dictate the line of scrimmage. And then now, what was the issue on Sunday against Green Bay is tackling. 19 missed tackles. And you're trying out a rookie at inside linebacker in place of a veteran in Logan Wilson. I'd imagine they're going to go that same direction tonight. And I'm really concerned about this Bengals defense. I'm very concerned. Primetime underdogs, by the way, to go back to the betting real quick, and then we'll get into the brass tacks of the actual game. Primetime underdogs this year, again, kind of a meaningless stat, but 15-7 against the spread. Primetime underdogs, 15-7 against the spread. This is the first time that primetime underdogs have a winning record against the spread since 2002. And look, this is the objective truth. I tell people all the time, look, I'm a fan of the Bengals. I feel like a child, an emotional child, watching these Bengals games. So I try to come with the cold, hard facts. And I think this is a Coors Light cold, hard fact. The Bengals found out who they need to be offensively in the second half against the Packers. That's an objective fact. Watch the film. I can't believe some of these media idiots. I'm a media idiot. Pick Pittsburgh to win 20. One of these analysts on NFL Network, whatever that show is called, Good Morning Football, whatever, picked Pittsburgh to win 26-0. Are you watching film? I started the show ranting about that. So let's get into the brass tacks of the game here. Let's see. Let's take a look at the chat first. My pledge brother, Evan Lee. Thank you, brother. Unk Bowl, it ain't going to be boring, dude. Dwayne loves the Bengals tonight. Vegas has the math guys in the world to beat you. Nick says he's got Bengals plus 5.5 and over 45 and over 7.5 in the first quarter. The numbers to look at, I'm reading the chat. I'm getting caught up on the chat. Mike Tomlin on primetime, I think is 0-6. Yeah, we covered that. I think that's a meaningless stat, personally. But I hope that Mike Tomlin after tonight is 0-7 in primetime on Thursday Night Football against division foes. I really do. Look, Pittsburgh's running a lot of they're running a lot of sets with 6 O-linemen. We'll see if they need that tonight. Trey Hendrickson's out of the game, but Shamar Stewart, our first pick, the rookie edge rusher who's got a lot of promise, a lot of athleticism, will be playing tonight. So on the edges for Cincinnati, it's going to be Myles Murphy and Shamar Stewart. I think that those two guys are solid players, and I think that there's still a chance that the Bengals, without Trey Hendrickson, are able to get a good rush on Aaron Rodgers. Whether they need to use these 6 O-lines, these sets with 6 O-linemen, is up for discussion. I'm concerned about this defense, but if DJ Turner is able to turn it up, if Dax Hill is able to support him over there on the other side at corner, if Jordan Battle can get his shit together, and Shamar Stewart and Myles Murphy can get home a couple times, we might be looking at a defense that plays satisfactorily enough for a Bengals win. I'm not worried about the offense. I am not worried about the Bengals offense. They are going to keep us in the game if the defense allows. Speaking of the Bengals offense, could be a huge night for Noah Fant. He's really the only tight end that's serviceable that will be participating in this game tonight. Mike Gesicki, unfortunately, torn pec. Can't imagine how painful an injury like that is. On injured reserve. He's probably done for the year. And obviously, we got to get Jamar involved. I think Jamar's going to need, and we'll get into the keys to the game, but one of them for me is I think Jamar Chase is going to need more than 6 catches tonight for the Bengals to win. And I think we're going to need at least one deep shot to T. Higgins. So, couple of things on the Steelers side. Steelers turnover ratio is outstanding. They've got one of the best turnover ratios in the league. They take care of the ball, and they force some turnovers with guys like Jalen Ramsey. They're going to need to run the ball. I believe Jaylen Warren will be in there playing. It's going to be on the Bengals to plug these gaps for the defensive line to hold the line of scrimmage. And then these rookie inside linebackers, you got Barrett Carter and Demetrius Knight, 2 rookies anchoring the defense. It's crazy to me that Logan Wilson got like 12 reps or like 7 reps against Green Bay. I just don't understand it. Again, I think it's evaluation mode. I don't like that. We still got a chance. We've dropped 4 in a row, but we still got a chance. We got this game tonight, must win, season-defining game for Cincinnati tonight. And then you got the Bears, and then you got the Jets. You could win 3 in a row and be sitting at 5-4, head above water in the AFC North. This season is not over. So if we're going into evaluation mode with our inside backers, why? Okay? They might, look, I'm not in that building. They definitely know things I don't know. Barrett Carter might give them the best chance to win. But I know for a fact, I was in an NFL building at one point, 1 year in my life. Veteran presence is immensely valuable on the field. Veteran presence. I tell the story all the time. The Colts had a great offensive line in 2019. They still have it. They have one of the best offensive lines in the league today, anchored by Quentin Nelson. That hasn't changed. But we had a right tackle, I believe, Anthony Costanzo. He was an old cat. Wasn't the best tackle in the league. But when Costanzo was out there, it was a different unit because these guys felt secure with a guy around that's been there, done that. And I think Joe Flacco serves the same purpose for this Bengals offense. So they must know something I don't. Benching Logan Wilson in favor of a rookie, unproven Barrett Carter. And it's not a good look that they had 19 missed tackles against Green Bay. The defense came up strong in the first half against Green Bay for Cincinnati. They were nowhere to be found when they were needed in the second half on Sunday against Green Bay. So the Steelers, they're going to try to establish the run here. They're going to try to make sure that they have the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands late in the game. You got two accomplished veterans on either side of the ball. It's the Unk Bowl. That's why I'm wearing this hat today. I'm trying to look unk. I'm trying to look chopped. And the other thing, too, is with veteran players, they've seen this game change over the years, especially guys like Rodgers and Flacco. They've seen this game change. I heard John Gruden rant about this a couple days ago. In the NFL nowadays, padded work and training camp is reduced. There's off-season program restrictions. So, and then young players, they're not getting enough reps, and maybe that's part of why Al Golden and Zach Taylor have decided to put a rookie and Barrett Carter out there at inside linebacker. They want to get young players reps and experience. They want to get film on them so that they can evaluate them for future decisions. But I'm not worried about the future. We need to win now. Because the Bengals have this, I think statistically, the most easy, if not the second easiest, schedule down the stretch in the whole league. We've got a chance to get Burrow back Week 15 or Week 16 if we can just stay above water in this division race. And it starts tonight. But these veteran guys, they know what the game once was and how it's changed. On the other side of that, you look at the Bengals. We got a young unit defensively. You got a short week. I've ranted about Thursday night games on this show before. Short week. I hate Thursday night games. I can't imagine how the players feel about them. Short week. Thank God they're at home. The Steelers have a deep veteran roster. And experience matters in these short week games, especially these short week division games. So other than the fact that my Bengals are at home, I don't like that we're playing a deep veteran team on a short week. Looking at it on paper, it does not fare well for the boys in stripes. So, keys to the game. We'll make a prediction. We'll get you guys down the road. Keys to the game for the Steelers. Got to protect Aaron Rodgers, and that starts with holding the edges against rookie Shamar Stewart and promising player out of Clemson, Miles Murphy, who has played well. Some people disagree with the fact that Miles Murphy has played well. I've seen Good production from Miles Murphy. He played incredibly in that Vikings game 3 or 4 weeks ago when the whole rest of the team was dog shit. Okay? I would love to have Trey and Shamar opposite each other on the edges, but we don't have Trey. And so Miles Murphy's going to have to really step up. That's the biggest question mark. Can Miles Murphy and a rookie in Shamar Stewart step up and pressure Aaron Rodgers? If they're not able to get home, it might be a long night for Cincy. The Steelers have got to establish the run early. I think Cincinnati's middle of the pack in rushing defense. They've just got, Geno Stone at safety for Cincinnati's played fine. Jordan Battle had a couple games where he played great early in the year, and now he just looks like a shell of himself. He looks terrible. Terrible. So we're going to have to see B.J. Hill's going to have to step up, hold the line, and these rookie inside backers are going to have to fit, scrape, spill to the DBs. And everybody's going to have to make tackles. If we have 19 missed tackles again like they did against Green Bay on Sunday, it's going to be a long night. And Jaylen Warren's going to have a lot of rushing yards. It's going to be very frustrating. And then the last key for the Steelers that I had was they have to hunt Joe Flacco. And to counter this, I thought Joe Flacco did a tremendous job in the second half last week, getting the ball out on time, getting it out quick. And that's something that comes with having a veteran that's accomplished, been there, done that before. The timing is subconsciously programmed into his mind and body. So he's going to be able to feel pressure and get it out when he needs to, throw it away when he needs to. I heard something that was pretty insightful about quarterback play a couple weeks ago. I can't remember who said it or what show it was, but it was a young quarterback, I think, talking about coming off the field frustrated after a 3 and out, and the offensive coordinator gets in front of him and says, hey, you made good decisions. You didn't turn the ball over, and you allowed us to flip the field. Now, when you look at when Jake Browning was playing at quarterback for Cincinnati, it was 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, and then a pick, and then more 3 and outs, more 3 and outs, more 3 and outs, pick. You can't have that. And I think where that stemmed from for Jake Browning was, oh, shit, man, fuck. We've had like 4 3 and outs in a row. I got to make something happen here, and that's when it gets dangerous with quarterback play. Man, you feel like you got to be a hero. You feel like you got to make something out of nothing. You end up turning it over. The field gets flipped. The other team is able to capitalize on a short field, get points off the turnover, and then you're looking at a completely different ball game. That is not the issue with Joe Flacco. Joe's able to feel it, and he will take a throwaway over a forced, disgusting interception. So that helps me segue into the keys of the game for Cincinnati. Again, Flacco's got to get the ball out quick, and he will. I'm very confident in that. He's going to get the ball out quick. Jamar needs more than 6 catches. We have to integrate Jamar into the offensive game plan early, set the tone. Unlike last week, if the Bengals had just scored a couple of points in the first half last week, you're looking at a potential win against a good Packers team. And then I think I've been saying this a couple times on the episode today. We need one big play from T. Higgins. One big play. We got the yardage total for receiving yards in Vegas at 46.5. It'd be nice if we could cover that in one play. And then I mentioned this earlier as well. Noah Fant's got to step up. My prediction. What do you guys think? Let's check in on the chat. Wicked Mon says, you sound like Rich Eisen. Thank you so much, man. That's a really nice compliment. I would love to call games one day. Purcell Gaines thinks the Bengals win, score 30-20. The Bengals go to 3-4. I would love that with all my heart. Colton Flex says, I couldn't name one player on the Bengals defense. You got B.J. Hill there at the nose. Tonight you're going to see Shamar Stewart and Miles Murphy as edge players. You got Geno Stone and Jordan Battle as the safeties. Jordan Battle has been just complete dog water the last game or two. You got G.J. Turner and Dax Hill at the corners. And then at linebacker, specifically inside linebacker, you've got Barrett Carter, who's a rookie. They benched Logan Wilson, veteran Logan Wilson, for Barrett Carter last week against Green Bay. And then you got the rookie out of South Carolina, Demetrius Knight, who has played decently. But like I said, 19 missed tackles for the Bengals against the Green Bay Packers on Sunday. Purcell Gaines says Houday. Okay. I like the energy, Purcell. I like it. I hope I'm saying his name right. And then Wickedmon said you sound like Rich Eisen. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate that. That's a nice compliment. BVG, pretty good insight. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. My prediction. Bengals 27. Steelers 24 in a stone-cold thriller. Evan McPherson gets it done at the buzzer. Bengals defense holds up just enough for this offense to do their work. They force a couple turnovers. They force some pressure. The Bengals offensive line struggles against this Pittsburgh Steelers pass rush. Herbig, TJ Watt, Cam Hayward. But Joe Flacco is able to feel the pressure, use his veteran subconscious mind to get the ball out on time to the Bengals playmakers, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They're going to be a huge part of this game. Pittsburgh's been game planning for them all week. But the way they just pluck that ball out of there, no matter what kind of ball Flacco throws, it's going to be the difference. Bengals run game. Bengals run game looked good. A says cocaine's a hell of a drug. Oh, man. Especially when you mainline. I'm sorry. I don't. Does this hat make me look like I do hard drugs? He says, Bengals are cheeks. I think the public has seen a different team than what I know the Cincinnati Bengals can be. You got the best receiving core in the league. Now, Andre Iosivas, number 80 for Cincinnati, has been terrible the last couple weeks. He dropped 3 huge balls against Green Bay on Sunday. That's been grossly overlooked. I haven't heard anyone talk about Iosivas, Yoshi, as they call him. He's had some great moments as a Bengal, but I have not been too fond of him the last couple weeks. He's supposed to be a solid supporting receiver, arguably wide receiver 3. You've got a ball player in Mitchell Tinsley. People forget about Mitchell Tinsley. He scored a beauty of a touchdown week 2 against Jacksonville from Jake Browning, actually. And I haven't seen him getting any reps other than special teams. This guy's a special player, and I think he needs to step in. If Iosivas continues to struggle, the Princeton track guy and Andre Iosivas, handsome bastard, that guy, but he dropped 3 balls against Green Bay last week. 3 hit him right in the hands. One of them would have been a huge third down conversion, and Cincinnati ended up having to get rid of the football. And we needed some points in that game, obviously. Where was I going? Noah Fant. I think Noah Fant's got to have a big game. And I think Joe's going to get the ball on time. Look, this Bengals offense, they showed who they can be in the second half on Sunday. And I think they continue that, especially with a week of practice under their belt. Flacco's been practicing with Jamar and T all week this week. That was not the case last week, and we saw the connection between those guys on Sunday still. So, cocaine is a hell of a drug, but I don't do it no more. You know what I mean? You can't do it these days. You can't do fucking cocaine these days because you die. They put all this shit in there. I'm trying to think. I think that's it today, boys. We're gonna clip this up, try to get this out before the game starts. I think we're probably kicking off here in 41 minutes, maybe 51 minutes. So I'm gonna jog away here and try and clip this up, get some prediction clips out before the game starts. Listen, this is a one-man operation. We got on kind of late today because I couldn't get, of all things, we've had technical difficulties this week. Of all things, I couldn't get the damn Chromecast to throw this backdrop up there. I was thinking about throwing the Pittsburgh skyline up back there. I'm glad I didn't have to do that. But all that to say, this is a one-man operation. Everything from the thumbnail to the title of the video to the description to the camera work to the set to the content matter, the material that we prepare every week. It's all done by me. And I say that to tell you, if you're a new listener, if you're a new watcher, hit that subscribe button for me. I really would love to hire some staff around this show so that I can bring my best self. Still feel like we're doing that. But if you guys subscribe, this helps make the content that we produce on a daily basis. We've got it on the brass tacks side of things. Okay, here's what you get from subscribing. You get a daily podcast, just like you're watching, Monday through Friday, 6-ish to 6:30-ish Eastern, every day. We stream Madden most days, if not every day. We're posting daily clips. You can also get this podcast anywhere you get audio podcasts on audio platforms. This is a one-man operation. I'd love to hire some help. So in order to do that, I need you guys to subscribe. I don't ask for anything else other than that. But again, I'm taking an inch with you guys watching and trying to turn it into a yard or a mile. So, really appreciate everybody popping in today. We will be back tomorrow to recap this game, and I will either be elated or in pain. Austin, that's very nice. Austin Kerr says, I'm just tuning in, recovering from my surgery on Monday, so this is a relaxation I need. Thank you, brother. I love comments like that. I really appreciate it. And if you want to replay the entire episode after we jump off, number one, subscribe. Thank you for doing that. But number two, if you go to the channel after the fact, you'll be able to watch the full replay on my channel. You go to podcast and then in the jar. And then if you want to listen to it, we'll also have it up on all audio platforms as well. But yeah, Austin, definitely go back, watch the replay. We broke down this game that we're about to see unfold here in about, 48 minutes. The entirety of it. So anybody that's popping in right now, we're wrapping up the show. Again, you can go to the channel, access all the replays. You can access all the episodes on audio platforms. We update that daily. So anybody that's taken the time to spend your day with me or part of it, I greatly appreciate it. Comments like we just got are why we do this. And we will be back tomorrow around 6-ish, 6:30-ish Eastern. Maybe we've got time for a Madden stream. I do need to get some clips off. So Madden stream is questionable for today. But again, if you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss any of it. Austin's a Steelers fan. Damn it, Austin. Damn it. We need this win tonight, man. We need it, man. But no, we go live with Madden. We got daily clips. We got all that stuff. So I'm done with the channel promo. You guys know what the sitch is. I want to hire some help. So help me do that, God damn it. All right. I love you guys so much. This has been a fun show. It's always fun when we get to talk about our Bengals on prime time, ain't it? And speaking of that, that's it, boys.